rolling to the latest edition of NFL Live. Mike Hill hanging out with the crew. Darren Woodson also hanging out with us, former 7-year offensive lineman in the NFL. Ross Tucker is also with ESPN.com, Sirius Satellite Radio. You got a lot of jobs, my brother.
I'm trying. I'm trying to get one more right here. Let's do it.
You know, DeSean Jackson has got one job, and he finally showed up to it. He's back in the Eagles fold. DeSean Jackson ending his holdout, showing up for his first day of Eagles camp on Monday. Jackson led the league in yards per catch last season. It's in the last year of his rookie deal and wants a new one, but if he hasn't reported by Tuesday, he could have lost a year of service toward free agency. Sal Powell with more.
It was quite a scene a little while ago here at Eagles camp at Lehigh University. About 15 camera crews waiting on the field for DeSean Jackson finally to end his holdout. He walked onto the field with his best friend on the team, Asante Samuel, and he was greeted by Bobby April, the first coach to shake his hand. The special teams coach was looking for a number of electric punt returns for number 10. He's the reason why this team scored 27.3 points per game last season, most in franchise history since 1957. Right now, it looks like DeSean Jackson is back. How long he'll be back and stay back on the field, and how he works out that contract negotiation with the Eagles, to be determined. Mike?
All right, Sal Powell, as you know, Jackson, in one word, explosive. My man has scored 24 touchdowns in 3 seasons in Philadelphia. 13 of them have gone for more than 50 yards. He is averaging more than 48 yards per touchdown. The next closest is T.O. Terrell Owens, and he's not even that close, 32 yards per score. A lot of good reaction. Teammates happy to have him back. Let's hear from those reactions from earlier today.
Yeah, my boy's back. He's back, and he's ready to go. Fresh legs. He's going to have a lot of touchdowns this year, so we're happy to have DeSean back.
He's just ready to get out here and get to work. He misses everybody, and, you know, sitting home and seeing everybody work is, you know, it gets to you a little bit. You know, you feel out of place. So, like I say, he's ready to get to work and get his on the same page as Vic.
You know, DeSean just needed some time to think and get himself together, and, you know, I tell you what, it's going to be a breakout season for him again, and he's going to be a phenomenal player in this league as he's always been.
He is a phenomenal player already, but you know what? Money talks. So you got to handle your business before you get out on the football field. Darren, you went through something similar when you was with the Dallas Cowboys. So how should DeSean handle this situation?
Well, I think you got to look at it as this is a one-year season for him, and it's not just like the Philadelphia Eagles are the only team that is out there watching him. There's 31 other teams that are out there wanting his service in some way. So DeSean has to look at it much like I did. Listen, I'm going to go in, I'm going to play football to the best of my abilities, make the big plays that I have to make because I'm playing for 1 year and I'm playing for the big business contract, and that's the way he has to look at it. He can't be sensitive in this business. There is no loyalty across the board, so the loyalty has to be not only to himself but to his teammates to play week in and week out and play to his utmost ability.
See, I would look at it the exact opposite way. If I'm DeSean Jackson right now, I'm thinking a little bit. I got the Eagles where I want them. The expectations are through the roof right now. Do they really want to play games this season without DeSean Jackson, especially with Jeremy Maclin still out with this mysterious illness? I don't think they do. I mean, with Super Bowl expectations, they've said they're all in. If I'm DeSean Jackson, I am being awfully, awfully careful during the preseason, during training camp, and not to mention, I don't bother him holding out at all. The guy's a $155. Yeah. If I was 155 pounds, I'd probably be holding out too. I'd certainly be worried about getting injured. I know you say to go ball out, but that was your 8th or 9th year. Right. You know, he hasn't had a chance to even get the big money here, and you see the hit he took last year. I mean, look at him. Yeah. His head almost came off right there. I think what happened right there, guys, is he saw his football mortality flash before his eyes.
No. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with you when you say that, but at the same time, as a football player, you step in between those lines. And you're out there not only for yourself, but you're out there for your teammates and to win football games. I think the one thing DeSean is going to do this year is I think he's going to come out. I think he's going to play this season. But I don't know how much loyalty he's going to have to the Eagles organization. I think he's going to be playing for himself and playing for that big contract.
But can he be a little sensitive right now, seeing everybody that the Eagles brought in? When they brought in all these players, Donovan McNabb, his word was like, where are they going to pay him? How are they going to pay these guys? You see them bringing Asante Samuels there, his situation. Michael Vick is also in a situation where he wants to get paid, and they got to try and get him a new contract. So who's a bigger priority on this team right now? Is it Vick or is it Deshaun Jackson?
I would say Deshaun Jackson. And I know most people, that would blow them away because Michael Vick obviously is the quarterback, and you always got to take care of the quarterback. To me, guys, I think Michael Vick still has a lot to prove. I mean, you look at what he did towards the tail end of last year, that Vikings game, that Packers game. Seems to me like teams figured him out a little bit. Is he a one-year wonder? Can he play at that high of a level again? Deshaun Jackson has been unquestioned one of the 2 or 3 most explosive guys in the National Football League for 3 years. He's done it for 3. Michael Vick's only done it for 1.
Yeah, well, you're talking about Michael Vick. I think the one thing about Vick is he's your franchise quarterback. And you don't want any dissension with your franchise quarterback. Listen, there's a reason why you have all these free agents that are coming to Philadelphia. One of the reasons why is because Michael Vick is the guy. He's the best recruiter for Nnamdi Asomugha, Ronnie Brown, Babin. He's that guy. That's the reason they came to that place, because they want to play with him. The one guy whose feathers you cannot ruffle within that organization right now is Michael Vick. He has to be your #1 priority.
But what if he doesn't play as well as he did last year? I mean, he played great at the start, towards the end of the tail end of the last year.
But isn't that a chance you take with every player that's in the National Football League? You go year to year.
Yeah, but Deshaun Jackson, you've seen him do it 3 years.
We know what Michael Vick did.
When's the last time Michael Vick had 2 good back-to-back years? I don't remember it.
Well, there's a reason why Kevin Kolb is no longer in Philadelphia, is because they know Michael Vick's their franchise quarterback right now. But as we said before, they're bringing a lot of great players. You talked about Nnamdi Asomugha coming in. You talking about Jason Babin, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. What are they going to do with all those cornerbacks on that team? We're talking about this team being a dream team, but if there's anything that concerns you about this team, what is it?
I think it's that third cornerback position. And is Asante Samuel going to be the guy that sits, or is it going to be Rodgers-Cromartie sit? You know Asomugha is going to be the starter on his side. But the other 2 guys, I cannot see a guy like Asante Samuel sitting the bench while Cromartie plays. I just think that's going to be a major issue.
But we just talked about doing what's right for the team, right?
And doing what's right for the team is one thing, but I think you take care of the guy that's been there for a while. And Asante Samuel is a proven guy. I think there becomes rancor in the locker room when you sit a guy like Asante Samuel. I think if there is a problem, and there is a continuous problem in that locker room because he's not the starter, I think you got to trade him.
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you what I think is crazy is the change of philosophy for the Eagles organization. I mean, for so long, when you and I were still playing, as long as you were 30 years old with the Eagles and your contract was up, you were gone. See you later. Now, they go out and they're signing all these guys, Jason Babin, Cullen Jenkins, Nnamdi Asomugha. These guys are all 30 years of age or plus, and you can see it right there. Ronnie Brown will turn 30 during the season. Somewhere in Minnesota, Donovan McNabb is saying, you have got to be kidding me. Now we're all in? What about my 10 years? Now we're all in?
Well, the one year they did go out and get him a weapon of 2004, and they brought in Terrell Owens. You saw them go to the Super Bowl that year. They didn't win it, but they did win the division last year, trying to take that next step this upcoming season. Still to come, Run Ricky Run is now running along with Ray Rice for the Ravens. We got the latest on how Ricky Williams can help Baltimore's running game. And one New York defensive end has already left town, and Sean Ellis. Moves they've made this offseason have been up front, perhaps addressing the need to get after that quarterback. You know, they got Albert Haynesworth, they signed ex-Jet Sean Ellis, Mark Anderson, and on Monday they also added Andre Carter. So let's get back to Sean Ellis, Ross. And the Jets not only let him get away, they let him go within their division and to their biggest rival. What's that say?
It's surprising. And I was at Jets camp on Friday, and I was actually asking the guys, I was surprised that they hadn't given Sean Ellis a bigger offer. But the more you kind of dig into it and you talk with the guys, he was not really a great practice player, but you think, practice, Allen Iverson, right? Yeah. But they said he was really the one guy that didn't always seem to buy into what they were doing there in New York. And as a result, they didn't want him to be around those young guys. You know, Muhammad Wilkerson, Kenrick Ellis, they thought he'd be a bad influence. I think you can tell how the Jets thought about him by how much they offered him. I mean, 1 year minimum for a guy that's been there 12 years, made a lot of plays. It's pretty obvious that the Jets, they weren't really dying to get him back.
And not quite the reclamation project that Albert Haynesworth is, but how does he fit in with New England and what Bill Belichick wants to do?
Well, I think he wants a big physical defensive line. And, you know, to go back on the loyalty, because I know this is the loyalty thing's been jumping out at everybody. But, you know, it's a business decision. You look at the Jets, they're offering them the veteran minimum $910,000. To $4 million, you do the math on that. I'm going, you know, I'm going to the Washington Redskins if I'm a Cowboy. So I think
you're going from the Cowboys to the Redskins
for $910,000 offer to $4 million. You'd go with me.
You go to your biggest...
I'm going. I'm taking you with me. But at the same time,
I'd walk.
Yeah. Sean Ellis brings a physical style of football. And when you're talking to the Patriots, last year they say the best guy on the field last year in the playoff game was Sean Ellis. He had 2 sacks. He was a terror on the football field. I think that's when you saw Bill Belichick say, hey, listen, I need to go out and get this guy that's dominated us over the last few years, a physical football player. I don't care how he practices, as long as he shows up on game day and plays the way he played against us. I think that's what he wants.
Talking about practice, what about preparation against the Jets? How much of a defensive end does he become during the week of preparation for the Jets? Or how much of a coach is he leading up to that week?
Well, by the time they actually play him, I think the Jets will probably change some of those things. But he has been there for a while. I would just say the thing that's amazing to me about Bill Belichick paying Sean Ellis $4 million is he literally is fine paying a guy $4 million, $5 million if he only gets 10, 15, 20 snaps from him a game. I mean, how bad would you sign up for that right now? He might just want Sean to do nickel rush, you know, just with Albert Haynesworth inside, rush the quarterback. That might be all they ask him to do.
Yeah, and it's definitely drain him for all the information that he has. You know, he's on the clock right now, sitting on the bench, and Belichick is partner up with him. He's getting as much information as he can from Sean Ellis.
From the ESPN standpoint, too. 30 minutes of NFL Live for 3 hours of SportsCenter. Past defense last in third down efficiency last season. Offense converted 47% of those third downs. Straight ahead, talk about his former Jets teammates. We'll tell you if their revamped receiving core is an upgrade over last season.
I stand before you a very humble and grateful guy. I'm the second best player in my own family.
Hall of Fame induction ceremony this weekend. And once again, some memorable moments and speeches ingrained in our memories. We look back at a few after the break. Sanders, you know this, Darren. Falk, Denton, Sharp all played on at least one Super Bowl winning team during their careers. Also inducted on Saturday were linebackers Chris Hanberger, Les Richter, and the founder of NFL Films, Ed Saban. Let's go back to a prime time. You played 5 seasons in Dallas with Prime. You know, we know all about his bionics, what he does on the field, how electrifying he is, but tell us something that we don't know.
People don't realize how much work he really put into the game, how much film study he put in. And all we always talk about is his athleticism and his ability to turn his hips and, you know, play one-on-one coverage. But this guy was the ultimate competitor, not only on the field but off the field, and not only teaching himself, but teaching others to be better football players. Deion Sanders put in a ton of work week in and week out, not only in the classroom but on the planes if we're traveling. He had film on players, Ross, across the league. Every wide receiver, didn't matter if it was Jerry Rice or the third-string backup with the Seattle Seahawks, he had some type of film on him, and he studied harder than anyone I ever met.
See, that's so good to hear, and that doesn't surprise me, because I think sometimes people get so caught up in natural ability for the guys that go to the Hall of Fame. But what I took from those speeches Saturday night, all the guys we heard from, is how much time they put into it, how important it was to them. And that even continues to my playing days. I mean, the best guys I ever played with, the Tom Bradys, the London Fletchers, it was more important to them than it was to everybody else. That's how you get to the Hall of Fame. That's how you get to the Pro Bowl.
Well, you got to be great just to make it into the NFL, but the legends are the ones who put in the time after the greatness on the football field and in the classroom that makes them Hall eligible. A couple of Bills will be eligible for the first time for induction in 2012. Former head coach is Bill Cowher.
You know, showing me a lot of love and things like that, so just want to kind of keep that positive thing going.
Well, it sounds like he's saying all the right things.
Yeah, you know what? You got to play good cop, bad cop. Let Drew be the bad cop. You be the good cop.
He didn't really exactly say, though, when he was going to practice. Did you notice he kind of waited away from that one?
You think there's a mysterious injury in his future, too?
Well, I would just say this. Maybe he should consider what Matt Forte is doing with the Chicago Bears. Maybe he should say, listen, I'm not going to play in the preseason game. I'm not going to take that injury risk until I get a new deal.